Never trust a breadbasket. It's such a bundle of disappointment. The chef's subtle way of telling you that dinner would be a while. So I didn't prevaricate. The main course arrived as soon as the diners sat, and I watched them tuck in. I wasn't hungry. Besides, this whole meal was merely a framing device, a quirky introduction to a more exotic story. "Doctor, this is exquisite," said Philby, dabbing the meat juices of his grey moustache. "What is it, pheasant?" I smiled. "Why not?" I answered. There was a woman next to Philby, a psychologist. I never learned her name. She was visibly unimpressed with my coyness and wasn't afraid to show it. She said she wasn't fooled by my dinner invitation and demanded to know my true intentions.
"Indeed,"
added the provincial mayor.
"Doctor, you're not usually one to entertain guests, particularly at your tiny house. What is it exactly you want from us? What the dickens is that cabinet?"
I smiled and stood up. Carefully I wandered towards the blue telephone kiosk in the corner of the dining room. "Gentlemen, lady," I announced, "I can see there's no fooling you. I brought you here to witness a miracle." Philby chuckled. "Oh, Doctor, your pheasant isn't that good." "You're right," I admitted. "It's pterodactyl." Philby glared fearfully at his food, but I interjected before he could respond. "Now, what would you say if I told you I discovered the means of exploring the fourth dimension?"
"The fourth dimension?" said the mayor. "You mean time itself? The means of travelling into the future or the past?"
The psychologist scoffed.
"I'd say you needed your head examining," she stated. "Nobody can travel through time, Doctor. It is scientifically impossible."
"Ah," I answered, "then I needn't apologise for what happens next. Correct?" The diners looked at me agog. Something told me I'd killed the mood. It was the mayor, in no uncertain terms. I can't repeat what came out of his mouth. "I'm going on a journey," I declared. "I shall step inside this cabinet and disappear from sight. When I return, I will have travelled to the far future and returned to the present. But from your perspective, mere seconds will have passed." Philby laughed and stroked his beard.
"By Jove, it's like a night at the music hall. Come to your senses, Philby," the mayor snapped. "You're not buying this claptrap, surely?"
"I'll humour the man. He gives me food and fine wine. I can entertain his parlour tricks." "Oh, it's no parlour trick, I can assure you of that," I whispered. Then raising my hat, I nudged the cabinet door and stepped into the darkness. The time rotor glowed a sapphire blue as I headed for the controls. It was a glass cylinder attached to a console of brilliant lights that blinked and pulsed in the candlelit chamber, a space much vaster than its wooden shell would suggest. "And now for the floor show," I mumbled to myself as I manipulated the dials. "Now let me see. Anodrum and I, 802,701. Go." The engines roared and the time rotor began to rise and fall. The machine was in flight, propelling itself towards the future. As I peered through the glass cylinder, my heart began to patter. There was a shape, a dark shape, at the other side of the controls. It shifted, moving closer. It was a man. I stood motionless, just watching, and I glared narrow-eyed at the figure. "Well, well, well," I uttered. "You don't belong in this story."
"On the contrary, Doctor, you always need an antagonist,"
the man replied. His body shimmered, shifting in and out of focus like a reflection on water, but I could see his face clearly. It was a face I knew too well. "Master," I said calmly. "So you avoided execution?"
"Not quite,"
he replied.
"I'm still a prisoner on Stardom. However, time travel is always possible in dreams, and it wasn't hard to catch you napping." "I must say this is quite some tale I've stumbled into."
I looked across at my favourite chair, where an old book lay abandoned next to a cold cup of tea and some sweets. Of course, I was dreaming. I dozed off while reading The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Yes, I was on chapter 2. The time traveller had just shown the machine to his guests. I looked back at the master, who smirked as he surveyed his surroundings.
"Oh, really?"
he jeered, picking up the book.
"The time machine, and an overflowing pot of jelly babies." "Oh, my dear Doctor, it's like you're parodying yourself."
"I'm not a parody," I insisted. "I'm a homage. Now tell me, why have you projected yourself into my dream?" Have you come to say farewell?
I have come to make a request,
he answered.
I have been tried and sentenced, and within the hour I will be dead.
I nodded. Yes, I heard about the charges they brought against you. They say you listened calmly.
Well, what did you expect?
The master barked.
Protestations, pleas for mercy. No, Doctor, I wouldn't give those creatures the satisfaction.
And yet you come to me now, I pointed out, very high and mighty of you. The master inched closer. There was a lingering desperation in his eyes. Perhaps even a sadness.
Will you do it, Doctor?
He inquired, softer now.
Will you collect my remains and take them home?
I gazed wistfully at my old friend. Your captors will never agree.
They already have,
said the master.
They fear the Time Lords. They dare not exterminate you. You know that.
I faltered. I listened calmly. I couldn't trust the man even on the scaffold, or even in death. What was he plotting? What part would he play in my story?
I'll take that as a yes,
the master purred, reveling in my torment.
Thank you, Doctor. I knew I could count on your bleeding hearts. They'll simply send you the coordinates and my dead remains will be waiting for you on Scardo. Now, how's that for a conclusion?
The master began to fade, his face rippling and bending. Teasingly, he raised his hand and waved.
Sweet dreams, Doctor.
He sneered and disappeared from view. And that was that. I was suddenly alone with my machine. A little sad and confused, and certainly afraid. It's funny that. Afraid. Should a dead man be feared? It's nothing more than a dream, a story. But then very soon I'd be awake. The dead man would be dead and I'd be on course for the planet Scarlo to collect his remains. No, it was a story I didn't want to read. It was a request he should never have granted.